Yo guys, welcome, it's Sandro. So, in this video, I just wanted to make another video on something that really struck me during my new player experience of Guild Wars 2. And that thing that really struck me is Guild Wars 2's camera quality of life and the settings that they have in-game. And why I think, personally, that other MMOs should really take notes on Guild Wars 2's camera quality of life implementations and the settings that it has in the game. Now, Guild Wars 2's camera quality of life and the settings that it has in-game are honestly some of the best I've ever seen in any MMO. And I've seen any MMO implement, honestly. And in my opinion, and I'm sure many players can probably agree with me, that the way a game feels and plays is just a very integral part of any sort of first impression of any sort of game. Like, you want a good first impression of any game. You want a game to feel great right off the bat, so that players can stay engaged and feel good playing the game, so that they continue playing the game for a long time. And the camera is one of those integral parts of how a game feels. The camera and how it feels to move in game are just very major parts of a good first impression. And at first glance of Guild Wars 2's camera settings, I really thought that, honestly, the settings were just your typical MMO camera settings, right? Like, you know, you have very minute camera setting differences and stuff like that. But as I kept looking through the settings, I realized that there's so much more to this camera system and the settings that it has. And also the unique action camera mode that Guild Wars 2 actually has that maybe new players might not even know about, like personally like me. I would not have known about this action camera setting if not for the Guild Wars 2 community in my previous video actually telling me about it, which I'm glad that the Guild Wars 2 community came and told me about this camera, because I would not have known about it in the first place at all. And that is the first thing I want to touch upon in this video, is the action camera. And the action camera is something that really surprised me in terms of like an MMORPG feel. The camera completely changes how you move your character around it, similarly to, you know, MMOs like Elder Scrolls Online and stuff like that. All the gameplay that you see in this video is in the action camera mode. And today I decided to make a new character. I wanted to try out a new class, which is Warrior, which is the class that I have always loved in every MMO or RPG. And I decided to try this new mode on this new character that I wanted to level. And wow, my character is level 1, and it works wonderfully and feels amazing. The fact that Guild Wars 2 has an option like this, in my opinion, is just a fantastic quality of life implementation. It feels so smooth. No MMO I've played has had this certain option like this before, honestly. At least to my knowledge, I can't remember any MMO that really has an option to go from tab targeting to complete action RPG camera mode. It is just, it feels great to me. Even though I only have my first ability on Warrior in Guild Wars 2 on this new class that I made, I feel way more engaged just spamming left click to attack, and it feels so great and smooth, and it feels like an action RPG, and it feels so great. I feel engaged with the game, way more engaged than having the normal camera mode in Guild Wars 2. I still felt engaged in general when playing the game, but I didn't feel as engaged as I do now with this action camera mode. And at least for a melee class, it does feel fantastic. I want to assume that maybe ranged or magic classes maybe would prefer the normal camera mode, which, as I said before, utilizes tab targeting, which is like Final Fantasy or WoW. Maybe the tab targeting feels way better for those type of classes, or that type of playstyle. But at least from what I've experienced as a person who plays melee classes, from the very little I've experienced of using the action camera mode, it feels awesome. And to go into the Guild Wars 2 camera settings now, though, like I said before, the camera settings may seem very little and just not that much, honestly. There's just maybe less than 10 settings in terms of like sliders and stuff like that. But there is so much you can do with the Guild Wars 2 camera settings, which is always great. You have rotation speeds, horizontal position of your camera with your character, which can be adjusted to a classic MMO type of camera where your character is centered within the screen, or you can adjust the camera to be over the shoulder like an action RPG, which I did personally, and it feels really good. And you also have vertical positions to adjust the height of the camera and the field of view, which is also always nice because you want to see your enemies always. You always want to see your enemies in your field of view, which I think is a nice setting to have. And to many people who play MMORPGs or RPGs in general, they may overlook camera settings and not really think much of it personally. But I've always thought that it is an integral part to have great settings and quality of life for camera view in any sort of game. And camera view and how your character moves is always important to have the best settings for it possible for a smooth and good experience in-game. Now, what do I think that MMOs can learn from this? MMOs need to really just take note that this in-depth camera settings and quality of life in Guild Wars 2. In-depth camera settings and quality of life is important to any player's experience. Like, the way the game feels and plays is extremely important to a player's first impression, as I said before. And this includes how a camera feels and how it feels to move your character. And Guild Wars 2 does this extremely well. It gives you great options, although I wish they would actually tell you that the action camera mode is actually available to you. But I think many players would love it, and if you don't know about it, if you're a new player like me, well then there you go, now you know about it. Go into your settings, your key binding settings, and scroll down to the camera section, and there is a section that will tell you that you can set a keybind to activate action camera mode. And you can use it there, and you can try it out for yourself and see how you like it. Honestly, if there's anyone that I think should take note, it's Blizzard in World of Warcraft. Now, I love World of Warcraft. I still play it to this day, and I've been playing with them since 2010, Wrath of the Lich King. And there's been many players, I don't know if any of you just keep up with World of Warcraft news or what they do with bugs and stuff like that on Wowhead, but many players have been begging for Blizzard to keep the 120 field of view in World of Warcraft, and supposedly it was a bug. I don't know why they consider it a bug, but they are very adamant in fixing it, and I think that is just ridiculous. It's restrictive of camera quality of life and settings. Like, I don't understand why you want to restrict something like that to players who need as best of a camera as possible in an MMO that has so much action and so, like, you need to see it all around you so that you have the best gameplay feel as possible. And I think many other MMOs need to take note of this as well so that their players have the best experience possible in controlling their characters, you know? It's very important to have a good feel when you play the game. Now, overall, I've still been continuing my Guild Wars 2 new player experience, and I've been enjoying every minute of it. It's been great. It's a relaxing game, and it's been fun to just explore it and chill with the game and vibe and just, you know, go around exploring. And with camera options like these, I can now be even more engaged in the combat with a smoother and more engaged feel with the action camera mode, and I can't wait to learn more about this mode and experiment with it and see what I can be most comfortable with to make my experience as engaging as possible. And I hope that all the other MMOs can just really take note on this and try to work as best as possible in making more quality of life for their players and just having as best experience as possible, whether it be with camera settings, the way your character moves, or any sort of other quality of life that'll improve a player's experience when playing their game. Now, I appreciate you guys watching. This is a little bit of a shorter rant, but it's something it's been on my mind for a little bit, and I really did want to talk about it. So I appreciate if you watched all the way through. I hope you guys have a great time, whatever games you're playing. I hope you're enjoying it, and I hope you guys have a great day, a great week. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.